Hey everyone, Chasta here. You're watching Soundwaves TV. Very excited about a late night episode. Oh boy, we're calling it Night Owls for a couple reasons. We'll get into it. This week, Willis and Joe Hawk are at Bottom of the Hill in San Francisco hanging with the Dollyrots. They're also shooting a brand new music video from their forthcoming album, Night Owls. And we might actually see it before the end of the show. How cool is that? Also, Zouzou from Soraia will join me in the studio to talk about rock and literature. So highbrow here at Soundwaves. It's going to be a very wicked cool episode. You're watching Soundwaves TV.
Hey everybody, welcome to Soundwaves TV. Dennis Willis, Joe Hawk, and we are at Bottom of the Hill.
Super excited about
and actually,
tonight.
you know the reason why we're here is coming down the stairs right now. Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey, come here. She didn't know she was going to be on. This is Kelly Dollyrots.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm ready to pre-game.
Pre-game.
Pre-show.
You must.
Pre-show.
Yeah. Carry on.
You're
Carry on.
coming.
Oh, we are.
Well,
okay,
shoot.
well, clearly we're going to go party with the Dollyrots.
Yeah.
We are at Bottom of the Hill. Tonight is going to be awesome. It's Dollyrots, and also on the show later on is Soraia, who are both on Wicked Cool Records, by the way.
Yeah. What a coincidence.
Almost a coincidence. Just kind of fell in the schedule that way. But Chasta's got a great interview coming up. And we're going to do something that I don't think has ever been done on a music video show before.
And what's that?
Well, I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but I have been known to direct the occasional music video.
Well, toot.
Toot, toot. And the Dollyrots are here, and they're not here much. But we're going to give it a go to direct and produce the first single from their brand new album, Night Owls.
Yes.
It's called Hey Girl, and we're going to hopefully show that to you at the end of this episode.
And honestly, it's a banger. He called me up. I got here nice and early. You showed up a little bit on later side, but hey, you know what? Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Yeah. So we're going to cut over to Chasta right now over at Green Room Music. She's having fun. I don't think she's having as much fun as we are, though.
No. We're about to go party with the Dollyrots.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Chasta, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, guys. A little jealous right now that I'm not pre-gaming with the frickin' Dollyrots. How did this happen? I'm so upset. And I realized I don't even have a beer. Beer winch. Hello, manservant. Give me a beer. Oh, a 4-pack even of Into the Groove. Look at that. Up next is a video that is a standalone single that deals with artificial intelligence. In fact, the video was created when the band fed images of lead singer Kelly Ogden into an AI program, and this is what came out. It's very creepy, but still a very good song, and you're watching it on Soundwaves TV. Still holding on to my beer.
Arguments.
And that was Still Holding On from the Dollyrots. Joe Hawk here at Bottom of the Hill. We are hanging out with, of course, the Dollyrots tonight. And we are having so much fun hanging out with them. And actually, coming up here in just a little bit, Dennis actually got to sit down and get a nice little conversation going with the Dollyrots. Talk about their tour going on right now, the new album, and more. Check it out. We'll be right back.
Your home is your biggest asset, and whether to sell or hold is a major decision. David Siplin will help you with the information to make the right call and assist with the sale of your property and the purchase of a new home. Contact David today for an in-person or remote appointment.
Check out Soundwaves TV on all our social media accounts. Deleted scenes, extended interviews, the latest announcements, and official playlist. The Bay Area plays here. Hit us up everywhere at Soundwaves TV.
Please consider helping us continue our mission of lifting and supporting independent music by becoming a Soundwaves patron. In exchange, you'll be the first to see and hear all of our weekly shows, as well as exclusive content. Just go to patreon.com/SoundwavesTV.
Hey everyone, you're watching Soundwaves TV. Dennis Willis here with the Dollyrots.
Hello, I'm Kelly.
I'm Lewis.
And this is Aixa.
Everybody knows who you guys
Look
are.
at us.
You're new. You're new. We've never met before.
On and off. I mean, I've known these guys since the beginning of time, and here I am at the end of times.
I was going to say the end of what? What are we talking about here?
I mean, the world's on fire.
Well, the world is kind of on fire, so that's why we play rock and roll.
Exactly.
So I'm so thrilled to catch up with you guys. We did a little project inside that I'm just going to call it right now that we're going to see by the end of the episode. Let's just
Okay,
shoot
great.
for
Let's
that.
do it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You look a
Well,
little worried.
we don't have to do anything. It's
No,
you.
you don't. If it doesn't work out, we're just editing
We
this
did our
part out.
part.
So you're on tour. How's the tour going? This is
It's
we
been
haven't seen you guys
great.
for a year.
Awesome. Yeah, it's like we come out here out to the West Coast once a year, and it's always sweet because we lived in LA forever,
Right.
and so every show feels like a family reunion type situation.
You've got to
you
have
get all
friends
the-
all over the country. Like when you guys head to
we
a
do.
the middle of the country, I'm
Yeah.
like, I've heard you say before that like you're closer to some of those folks than you are other people who you know
Oh, yeah.
a little more.
Yeah.
Probably not or anything, but
Yeah, like, almost to a fault. It's like basically most cities in the country, if we needed a place to sleep, we'd just be like, hey, and like
Even
Yeah.
an extended stay, we could
Yeah.
probably impose on someone.
Nice,
we're
nice.
really lucky.
I'll give up my office. I mean,
Yeah,
and
see?
see what happens. So the album, I'm very excited about the album. I heard the album. Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
I heard it in a different order, but that's a whole nother story.
Dennis was going to help us sequence the album, and
we did like put together. We did use some of your suggestions.
There's like
in the,
two of them
yeah.
together. Awesome.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
take it.
I
I'll
think
take
it might
it.
be more than that. It's more like the general like A side, B side,
Oh,
what the
okay.
standouts were. You had a really good, well
it's his plus.
articulated argument for every song.
Yeah. I mean, Stevie Van Zandt had a few okay ideas as well, so we had to
You
take those into
know,
account.
if I have to be second place, that's a good place to be.
In the end, it was
I
Lewis.
have to say though, it's a phenomenal album, and I'm not
Thank
just
you.
saying like every freaking song. And you sent more songs that ended up on the album, and they were all bangers. I'm like, that's got to be a good problem to have. How did you feel about? Yeah.
In terms of what? In terms of how the record was made, or
Yeah,
how,
I mean, like to sit back and go.
Well, yeah, that's
Oh,
kind of like
wow.
that's kind of what happened. Like we did the whole pandemic thing like everybody else did, and so we couldn't finish a freaking song to save our life because like we just weren't feeling inspired, or as if there was like a light at the end of the tunnel, and so we ended up with like literally 50 demos.
Wow.
And so they were none of them were complete. So it's like a verse chorus. Or like a verse chorus bridge, but none of them were done. And so when it was time to put it all together, it was like, that's a pretty good chorus and that's a pretty good verse. And so we just kind of like put all the parts together.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
so if one was deficient, we just take it from another one. And so I feel like it kind of, allowed us to do what a lot of bands do with their first record. This is like this idea that Kelly came up with, which totally made sense to me. Like it's like you explain.
Okay, you know how everyone loves a band's first album, Right.
Sure.
Like a lot of the
Sure.
time, it's like your favorite album of a band is their first album, and it's because it's the one that took the most time probably for a lot of bands, and it's all those like really good ideas they had like sitting around in notebooks since they were like 15 or whatever, and.
It's like your 8th grade poetry, you know?
Right.
Pretty much. But this album, we had never, since we started being a band, we put out an album every 2 years, and this one it'll be over 4.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we actually had a lot more ideas, a lot more time to reflect. You know, when it came time to finally make the album, we went and we listened back to some of the stuff from the earlier days of the pandemic, and it was like, man, we're crazy. This is great, you know? And so we had time to have perspective on ourselves, which usually we don't. Usually we just go for it.
Go. Yeah.
So Stevie Van Zandt, I noticed that he produced at least one of the songs. How involved was he, and how awesome was that to have him be part of this process?
You know, Stevie, we've been working with Wicked Cool for the
Wicked
last
Cool,
few
yeah.
releases, and so that's his label. Kelly's actually a DJ on his radio station
I
on
was gonna bring
Sirius
that up
XM, and so we're tied into Stevie's world. And Stevie is, man, having someone around to be able to be honest with you about where your song's coming from or how it can be better. And he wants you to send the demos, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and the label's like the coolest label because they just, you know, they just want to put out rad vinyl.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and so, but having his take on it.
You guys have
is
super
like-
pretty vinyl,
and-
by the way. Like all your, I
You
got
could- you could-
So
really?
cool.
Yes. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we sent him songs, and like, if you know, he'll tell you honestly. So a couple of them were basically written and done right before a tour we did where we went through New York City, and you know, basically he was like, "Hey, come to my studio," and we said, "We have 8 hours." Literally. So
We played the night before, and then we were playing that night.
yeah,
Oh,
so we
wow.
played the night before, drove down, banged out 2 songs in the studio with him. He like brought his dog, and like he made us play like keyboards and stuff that we're not used to, and
12-string guitar.
12-string guitar,
Really?
which
Wow.
I hate.
I sang 1,000 harmonies, which I hate.
It's like he put us in an uncomfortable position, and the end result was super cool. He kind of took it into a magical, like on a magic carpet ride.
That's very
you know,
interesting. So different
so-
than the process you usually, like you're at home and recording demos and stuff, and then you have it all
Yeah.
kind of workshopped and worked out when you go
Yeah.
into the studio.
Yeah, we usually we cut most of everything, like basic tracks at home, and then normally we put it together with John Fields. He's been our producer since we were babies, basically. And so, but yeah, that was different, and it was cool, and to be able to have that input and to work with somebody whose mind is all about creating awesome music was, you know, it's a treat. We get spoiled, man.
That's cool. So he was
Yeah.
the Mickey D. Rocky. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And so, what's your relationship with him? Because you are on Underground Garage, and
Well, I mean, he's my boss.
yeah. How much? I
And-
mean, but how? Because Dennis Mortensen
Yeah.
runs the label and the station. We've had
Yeah.
Dennis on the show before, and he's awesome.
Yeah. So technically, Dennis is my boss, and then Stevie's the boss. I think Kid Leo's in there somewhere too. But
He's
you
a lot
know,
of fun.
he treats me like a peer. He's really, really cool. I've learned a lot from him. But yeah, Stevie, as long as you don't get any emails in the middle of the night, you know, everything is great. But every now and then, I mean, he really listens. Like last week, I got an email. It's like, "Who did you say produced?" God, I can't remember what song it was. And then Dennis is copied on it. And Dennis was like, "That's what I got in my notes too, Stevie." And so then I go and I look back. He's like, "I got to figure this out." And he called the guy's son. It was like,
Probably some obscure 60s.
yeah. And he was like, "Oh my God, you're right. It was a pseudonym." And he usually didn't use that in those years. And so I just didn't believe it could be true. And I was like, his brain has so much musical knowledge, which makes the station really, really cool because
Sure.
he wants all of us to also learn that and impart that knowledge. But I'm the youngest DJ by quite a bit, I think.
You sound like you know what you're talking about.
But, oh, good. As long as I sound like it. I mean, I'm still kind of winging it sometimes. But yeah, he sends really encouraging emails too. He'll just be like, "You're
Nice.
killing it, girl." Like they're always just like really short, awesome things. I feel like I should like put them in a book for days that
You
I
should.
feel a little bit discouraged. I'll be like, "Oh, it's okay. Look at this."
That's funny you mentioned that. I was going to ask, when are you writing a book?
I know. One
But-
of our best friends, Jeff. He's a filmmaker. He went to film school, but you know, he also he's written a couple books. He wrote the Robbie Krieger one that
Okay.
just came out, and then he
Nice.
wrote the Hepatitis Bathtub No Effects book. He works with No Effects. He did a lot in the Backstage Passport. He did that show with them.
It's an awesome title.
But I feel like Jeff would probably be the one to write it with us eventually.
Yeah.
We're just nominating him to do the book.
It's obvious.
Like, okay.
You're gonna write a book. If you didn't know it,
Sorry.
how terrifying is it?
Surprise.
Like, just to double back to little Steven real quick. Like, he says, "Send me a song," and like, you know how far into that process you are. Like, this is the second draft, but we have to do another month's work, and he says, "No, send it." Are you just like, oh,
Well, I know he's gonna take objection to at least a couple major, like
The thing you
parts
worked
of
a
the
month
song. Well, but you know what? It's better when it's like short and sweet and kind of crappy, because then there's a way, because a chorus can be. I mean, you could just do an acoustic demo. We tend to get a little more sophisticated than that, but like when he tears into you a little bit, you know it's for a good reason.
he doesn't.
And you just have to suck it up, you know. And like I feel like that's an important part of like just being in a band is
anyone you work
like you have to be assuming that the person that's dishing it out is
What's
worthy.
that old phrase? They said, if you're the smartest person in the room, the most talented person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
You got to surround yourself by people who know more than you do.
That's right. So, two more things real quick. We'll let you get to dinner. Multitasking. We've talked about multitasking before, just kind of casually. I was texting them about tonight, and you said, we're doing a radio interview right
we're on
now.
the air right
and
now.
I'm like, so I called it up, and sure enough, you're texting while I'm listening to you in an interview, and and I'm just like, I don't know many people. I kind of work that hard, and I know Chasta works that hard, but you guys, and you're raising kids and doing all this stuff. When do you sleep?
I don't think I've seen 8 hours in my lifetime with these two.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. Yeah.
I like Aixa knows us well. Like obviously, it's like over 20 years, and so but we don't, because you know what? Somebody's always up in a different time zone. And we know people all over the place, and you know, maybe somebody's in California and the other one's in the UK, and maybe somebody needs to talk to you about something. Maybe we kind of sleep in shifts.
Well, and also, if we're going to be musicians, like Jarrett said it to us a while ago, and he's like, listen, if this is what you're going to do, you have to have like 10 small jobs that equal like one job. And we've managed to keep them musical, or at least like related to our field, and so that's really cool. Except property managing that, but we do that for our attorney, our music attorney. So I guess it is still kind of part of it.
That sounds like a chapter in the book in itself.
But we're the worst property managers ever. We're the best, worst, I think. We're too nice.
So you're awesome landlords, but
but yeah, I mean, we're always hustling, and I think we'll never ever stop.
Good.
And
that's good.
I don't really want to.
Yeah.
I would like to sleep for a week soon.
Right.
But then I'll just go right back to normal.
Yeah, like a vacation for us is like, well, like just like for her birthday, it was like, I don't want to travel. We travel like for like normal life.
Like, can we have a party? I was like, I have a party.
I'm like, no, we have a party every second. Like every show's a party. Literally just get a hotel room and do nothing and watch like Back to the Future.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
We did have some drinks at the pool.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes time to relax, I literally want to do nothing. So we stay at this nice hotel like right down the street.
That's awesome.
But you just you earn that, and I feel like it's okay as long as it's better to be wanted, right, than unwanted. And so we always say yes, because I'm just grateful that anybody cares.
Because one day the phone's not going to ring. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Not for you guys. For me, though. That's why I say yes.
Oh, come on. We'll be calling you.
Come on.
You can count on us to,
Let me sleep on your couch. One last thing. I noticed it. It took me until very recently. Last night, in fact, I started connecting the dots. My wife and I were going over some Dollyrots notes, and I'm like, oh, there's a bunny on this album cover, and it says Year of the Bunny, and here's another bunny, and there's a bunny in the music video. What's the deal with the bunny?
So when I was little, I had this bunny named Hoppy.
Is this going to be a sad story?
It's funny in the end.
All right.
I mean, it's sad because so I thought that I had this bunny for like my whole life. I was like 17. Lewis was actually at Easter when we were watching old family movies, and we're at my aunt's house, and I was like, oh my God, there's Hoppy. And my Aunt Laura was like, Yeah, I was Hoppy number 20. And I was like, no. I had no idea. And they're like, Kelly, Hoppy changed colors a couple times. And I was like, well, you know how like snowshoe hares, they're brown in the summer, they're white in the winter. I thought maybe Hoppy was a special kind of bunny.
Emily was lying to you.
I was in complete denial.
Wow.
And so it was like just symbolic of a loss of innocence in a way. And
Gotcha.
we needed a character for the first album and we just stuck with it.
Nice. Well, it works.
But we're all tigers lately. I have only tiger shirts.
Oh, there you go.
He has
So,
a drummer shirt.
The album is coming out in October.
October 13th. It was
Friday
like you can
the
have
13th.
It's my wife's birthday. Look.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it was like, do you want it out on the Tuesday or the Friday? The Friday is the 13th. I was like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's night owls, So
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
called
the theme.
Night
It's supposed to the aesthetics like darker in some ways,
Yeah.
It's not a dark album, but like
No.
like
It is awesome. It is awesome.
It's nighttime because that's when we're creative.
Yeah, I was going to say, every time I've ever talked to you on the phone, they're like, can you talk now? And I'm like, well, it's midnight here. So, like, in Florida, I'm like, are you guys still up? Oh, yeah.
Yep. Just ready to take the kids to school 2 hours later. Pretty much.
All right, well, get some sleep soon. Congratulations on the album. Can't wait for the show. And maybe at the end of this episode, we'll have something awesome to show people.
I think you will.
I think we will, too. I think we will, too.
So you may have noticed that incredible interview Dennis had with the Dollyrots was kind of cut for time. But, time constrictions. But if you want to check out the full interview, get on over to youtube.com, search for Soundwaves. And also, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, because, we're trying to get big on YouTube. Because we're an internet TV show. And it all starts with you. But coming up here in just a little bit, check out Chasta's interview with Soraia right after this.
This portion of Soundwaves TV is sponsored by Longboard, the coolest hidden gem on the coast. A world-class music venue with a neighborhood vibe. Stop by for a drink or check out an awesome show. For more information or to get tickets to an upcoming event, go to thelongboardbar.com.
Hey, want to watch Soundwaves TV on your big screen? Head over to the Roku channel store and download our free app, Soundwaves TV. You'll get every brand new episode and archives of every past season. Do it now. We've got your next party covered.
Closed captioning for Soundwaves TV is brought to you by Green Room Music Center, offering rock camp, music lessons, a drum shop, and rehearsal spaces for rent. For more information, go to greenroommusiccenter.com.
Hey everyone, you're watching Soundwaves TV. Chasta here, elated because I have my brand new girl crush in the studio with me, Zouzou from Soraia. How are you?
I'm great, Chasta. How are you?
I'm so excited that you're here. We have so much to talk about. First of all, disclaimer. Okay, I don't know what's happening, but there's like some sort of drill situation happening in this building. As Dennis put it, it sounds like Inspector Clouseau is going to drop out of the ceiling. So if you hear any weird like noises, it's not like a burrito I ate. It's not that situation. It's just some situation back here. So ignore it and just pay attention to this gorgeous girl right there. All right, now that the disclaimer is out of the way, you literally just flew in.
We did.
From Jersey.
From Jersey. Well, we flew in from Philly to LA and LA to here this morning.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay. So do you feel like you're a Jersey girl right now or a Philly girl? You're like back and forth over the bridge all the time?
All the time.
Yeah.
Well, I live in Jersey. I'm a Philly girl that lives in Jersey is
Okay.
kind of how I put it because I'm probably going to be right back in Philly in a couple months anyway. But
Yeah.
I'm always living in Jersey and doing everything in Philly.
Yeah, you're a busy woman.
I like it.
Yes, I have to tell you, I found you. Well, okay, so backtrack a little bit. You're on Wicked Cool Records,
Yes.
Little Steven's
Yep.
Label, and we've had several bands. He knows how to pick them. And we
Thank
have
you.
noticed that. Yes, we have noticed that, and we've had several of his bands. In fact, we did a whole Wicked Cool episode a season or so ago.
That's awesome.
So you came to light through that. Dennis really pays attention to Wicked Cool because a lot of Wicked Cool artists, no
Yeah.
pun intended. So let's sort of start there because I fell in love with you immediately, and I want to know how you were found through Little Steven, and how sort of that started.
Actually, I was working I was working with a producer who worked with John Bon Jovi. And so
Hello, name drop. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
and so I ended up a lot at Bon Jovi shows. They were touring a lot at the time. So this is around 2010.
Okay.
And I was at a lot of those shows just meeting people. The producer wanted me to meet people and things like that. We had written a song called Run Around, and it was kind of in the vein of like Gloria, the old song Gloria.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And he's like, I know somebody who loved this song. And little Steven came to a Bon Jovi show when it was in New York, and he said, listen, I want you to hear this artist. I think you'll love this song, and I think you'll love the artist. And Steven said to him, like, well, if you don't hear from me, don't take it personally. It just means it's not my cup of tea. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
So literally the next day he called our producer and was like asking a million questions about me, had me come down to New York. This was in 2000. So this time point, it's still 2010, late 2010. I went to New York. I ended up having a 3-hour meeting with who I thought was Silvio at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
And I like watched him walk like Silvio, talk like Silvio. I'm like, I'm sitting here talking to Silvio and I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah.
I really didn't know I was there. But he talked about how he loved the song, and was I interested in writing more songs like that? Because I was kind of still finding my voice,
Okay, yeah.
And I said, maybe, I don't know. But over the next couple of years, I started writing in that vein. Like, I started writing a lot. I started only writing for like 3 years, and then I started writing more songs towards that vein. And then by 16, he had signed us. But he'd worked with us several times. He worked on our live show production with us. He came to all our shows in New York City with his wife, Maureen.
Wow.
We became friendly. Maureen would take me out shopping for clothes. And so we were kind of always in this world with them. And they were such genuine good people that when he really was starting Wicked Cool again, like for real, which was around like 14, 15, he signed us. We were like one of the second or third band he signed.
God, that must just feel incredible.
It was nice.
That's a very East Coast story. You're throwing out Bon Jovi. You're throwing out little
Very
Steven.
Jersey, New York, Philly. It's
really
like
is.
it's all in the bread there.
It is,
The
right?
soft pretzels, I should say.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, first of all, your name, Zouzou.
Yes.
What I thought might be your legal name or real name or whatever, but had a feeling there was a story behind that because your dad is Egyptian.
Yes.
Okay, so where did Zouzou come from?
So my dad, from a really young age, he'd call me 2 nicknames. He'd call me Us, which is Susu backwards.
Oh.
And then he'd call me Zouzou. When he was more affectionate. Zouzou's like Zouzou. It's more affectionate. And so from a very young age, he would call me those 2 nicknames. Zouzou being the predominant one as I got into my 8, 9, 10-year-old age.
Yeah.
And it was funny because no one really knew that. And that first meeting I had with little Steven Van Zandt, probably in like the first or second hour, he's like, Sue, your name is Sue? I was like, oh, that's my nickname. And he goes, you don't look like a Sue. You look like a Zouzou.
Like,
right?
Where in the world would he pull that from?
Listen, the thing about little Steven that people don't realize is he is definitely, and I'm sure nobody talks about aside from me, is he's connected to something much bigger and
I could
much
see that.
more. He knew my whole life story without knowing. He wrote, I don't know if you ever heard the song Why that we did. He wrote that song for us.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
I asked him about that song because we normally never cover a song with little Steven. You're not going to be like, no thanks, you know. It's like, I wrote a song for you.
Right, you're like, pass.
No, hard pass. We don't do other people's songs. He said, I said to him, where did you get, because the lyrics were so about something that just happened and really over the past 3 years of my life, what had really occurred. And I said, where did you get the idea to write this? He goes, I look at you and I think that's something your life that you've been through in your life. And it just represented you to me. Like down to the lyric.
Which I believe.
Yeah.
Like he gives off that energy. I'm a big energy believer. I feel all of that. So that does not surprise me in the least.
Nope.
Wow, that's incredible. And I love that, you've said, and I feel it and believe it in your music, like you write with a purpose. Like it seems that you feel like you have something to say or don't write at all kind of thing.
Yeah.
Those are my words, not yours, but.
No, it is that. And I used to feel that pressure immensely when I'd write a song if it really didn't have and I wouldn't even cover a song that I didn't feel like had something to say
Deeply connected
that
to.
was connected with me. One of the things I think, and I always realized, like as a younger person, I never really had the voice. I never had a voice in a lot of things, and I feel like when you not only find a voice but know what it's about and know its story but aren't locked into that story anymore, and you can look back on it and still know it's part of you and it's formed you, but you're not that anymore, then you have something to say. And I think there's so many artists out there that are afraid to say what they have to say because they're afraid it won't be ingested or accepted. It just comes out sideways anyway. If you do it long enough, it's going to come out.
Yeah.
Whether you're telling someone else's story, but it's still your story. I think ultimately artists know how to like identify with stories that they feel some way or are connected to.
Feel connected to.
I've worked with, when I worked with John Bon Jovi, I also wrote with a co-writer of his called Billy Falcon, who is in I think he's in Nashville still, and he writes a lot of country songs. He's been writing forever. And that was his thing. He's like, I'd see two people on a side of the road, I'd make up a story. And I was like, it's probably one of your stories. Like, it's a story that either I had or I wished I had. And I remember thinking, like, that's so much of a songwriter. Songwriters are just, they have to do it.
It's true. I remember I was interviewing Charlie Starr of Blackberry Smoke, and phenomenal songwriter. I mean, phenomenal musician and performer and all that. But songwriter's just like, he's like, you know, a Tom Petty, Bob Dylan kind of storyteller. Yeah. And so I really dug into lyrics with him. And he said, I just feel like a journalist. Like anything I see, anything I do, anything I feel, whether it's my personal story or I'm watching in the world. And he was kind of like that. Like you see somebody at an airport and you can make up a whole scenario about what's happened with that couple or whatever.
That's the kind of mind I always had it as a kid. Like I'd make up stories to fall asleep. And I always thought there's something wrong with me. I remember I'd go to therapy, I'd be like, I need to tell myself stories to fall asleep. I never told anybody that because I feel like that's weird. And she's like, there's nothing weird about that. And it was like somebody gave me the okay to like have this kind of brain that I have that won't fall asleep if I literally have to have a story. And I have to come up with it myself. I have characters.
Yeah.
And the characters rotate, and I can tell you who I would have in my brain when I was little versus now versus sometimes I go back to old characters, but it's always a story.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And is that filter in the dreams? Does that filter into the music as well?
Oh, yeah.
Are some of those characters sort of playing all those roles?
Yeah.
Ooh, I love that. That's so good.
I think our newest one has a lot of that.
Yeah.
And it also
Wretch
has
Like Me? Is that the
Wretch
one you're
Like
talking
Me?
about?
And
Yeah.
I was also reading. Thank you. I'm glad you knew.
Yeah.
Very good.
I've been listening.
A+. But I also was reading a story. A friend of mine, Annie, sent me a book. She's like, I thought you'd love this book, and it was about Medusa. But it was told of the story of a love story. I forget what it's called. I'm so mad about it because the pictures were phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was almost like an adult children's book.
Oh.
And like she was talking about like, you'll hear me whispering across the ocean, and I'm like, oh, I'm putting that in a song. Like, it went in every motion, whisper waves across the ocean. And I changed it a little, but it was still the idea. And from that one line, I thought, that's like every motion of like somebody doing something I'd latch onto. So it's like sometimes the story comes to you through another story too.
Yeah.
But this Medusa story, totally off topic, but it was about her as falling in love with Perseus, who ended up having to behead her. He was there to do this deed, but they're both innocents. And I thought, what a great story to tell from a different perspective of like, you know, like Wicked is a different perspective. It's like a different perspective of something we commonly view as it's got to be this way. And then you hear the story from the other person's perspective and it's completely a different story.
And it shifts it completely.
And it's so good for songwriters because you just take somebody else's perspective and you have how many stories?
That's true.
You have 4 stories in like one if you have 4 people, right?
Right, yeah.
So it's I see what he's saying.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You're very well read because I've heard you talk about Shakespeare as well and like interfusing that sort of element into your music as well. And I love that. There's another band that does that with Edgar Allan Poe, Dead Posey. I don't know if you know who they are, but
no, but I will
really
find
great.
out.
Yeah, really
with
great.
Edgar Allan Poe. That's my thing
because I love Edgar and
me too.
Edgar, as I call him. But I love that you take those inspiration pieces and find a way to modernize them, I guess, and also emote in modern music. I mean, that's a special knack. And then all of a sudden, as a person living a quote unquote normal life, not Medusa, I know that's hard to believe, that I can relate to it. Like that's a special talent. And you nailed it.
Thank you. I feel like when I was the funny thing about Tight Lipped I wrote, which was from the point of view of Ophelia in the story. I was like always scared of Shakespeare growing up because I didn't understand it. The language is difficult.
Because you got to read every paragraph 14 times to get through it.
That's what I did. And I still was like, I don't get it. It took me like hours. And I was like, I'm tired of being scared of Shakespeare. I'm going to read Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And I started reading Hamlet and I saw what happened to Ophelia and I'm like,
that's a
I didn't know if I was allowed to curse. I was like, that is the biggest bunch of I've ever seen in my life. Ophelia is going to triumph. Ophelia's back. And
Yes.
she's going to be like, that's why at the end of the song I say, meet Ophelia. It progresses to like,
Bring her
poor
back.
Ophelia who couldn't say anything. And then she's like, oh, she's devastated. And then she's like, oh, meet Ophelia. That's not the same one that you read about. You know, so it's kind of like a cool thing for me, like just as a writer to do.
Yeah.
To change her story.
Yeah.
And then to think of it in a modern sense of a modern woman, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And if she were in today's world. So that there's definitely that aspect to it. I love literature. I love it. My first love was writing and reading literature. Reading really literature, which I was like, well, what am I going to do with that? Right? So I have to write.
I gotta
write something. Or something. I was like, oh, does anybody need a job or somebody just reading a bunch of books? I'll do it.
Right, editor. That's
Yeah.
what you could have done.
Editor, I couldn't review because I have so many. I'd go on for like 8 pages. I remember college and like doing papers and being like, wow, a coffee, and like 18 pages later, I'm like, this is only supposed to be 10 pages long.
Yeah,
I gotta figure this out. Yeah.
It served you well
Yeah,
in the writing world,
yeah.
in the music world, for
It's
sure.
funny. I never thought I could write a song because it's such an encapsulated piece of a story, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'll never be able to do that.
Yeah, but now you just push all of those into, 3 or 4 minutes, and
You
it's
can do it.
power packed.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It keeps my brain manageable.
Yeah.
So,
But I also loved what you said about like writing albums versus singles, because the nature of the music industry beast, I guess is the way to put it, is, a lot of people rip out singles, which is how people like to do things now because they want to keep the beast entertained, aka social media, right?
Yeah.
So you always got to be relevant. You always got to be doing the thing. But I loved you romantically talked about albums because like you sort of get your juices going and the whole thing kind of works. It's like you write 2 or 3 songs and by the third one you're like, oh, I'm feeling it now.
Yeah.
I love that you're staying true to that
thank you.
because that's really important. Like the whole storytelling vibe of the
There's
whole
a
thing.
flow to things. And there's
yeah.
a lot of times you can't find it until the 3rd or 4th or 5th song.
Yeah.
Maybe you find your like peak at the 9th or 10th song.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, now I'm done this album.
Yeah.
Do I have an album? What's it really about? It's funny because I never picked the title of the album until the end of the process because I don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 'Cause I don't
It kind of
really
finds
know.
itself.
It does.
somewhere.
You find
Yeah.
the theme in the lyric. Mm-hmm. And I want to be a great songwriter, whether people recognize it or not, whether it's a lot or a few. I knew I wanted to be a great songwriter. I wanted to be great at both those things.
Yeah.
Even more than as a performer, I was more interested in being a great singer and having that recorded voice be real and authentic. Mm-hmm. The thing I loved about Joan, and I told her this the very first time I met her, I looked at her and I said, "You saved my life." I just never will forget me saying that.
But you know what?
She's so small. And she looked at me. She's like, and she like leaned back. She has this like cool like lean
Very
back,
Joan about
lean back,
it.
And she's
Yeah.
like, well, isn't that what you're doing now? And I was like, I know I just took this away from. Isn't that what you were doing now? And I was like, not like you though, dude. Like I just was like, you're so great. Like I heard her do that. Ow, like that
Yeah.
thing she does, and I was just like, what is that? Like,
Because that's coming from like
Yeah.
way down here.
and I think that she said it 1st. I heard her say it first. I shouldn't say she said it first. I
Right.
heard her say it first.
Yeah.
Was music's in your blood. Music is my religion. And I thought, I was just talking about this with our guitarist Scott the other day. I said, we were walking up the hill and I said, man, it doesn't matter how much you make or don't make. Like really, if it's in your blood, you don't have a choice.
That's right.
You don't have a choice, and you can fight that all you want, but you're always going to end up back here. Like if somebody quits and they don't come back, then they weren't meant to do it. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like you can't really justify it to a lot of people. Like your parents are going to be like, what
You're
is
doing
up?
what? Yeah, exactly.
You're at what age now and you're
Right.
doing what?
Yeah.
Okay, 17, 18, it was cute. Now you're like 30. That's not cool. Oh my God, beyond that even. Like what?
Yeah.
So you really have to know in your soul and accept, like commitment, accept that's what you are and that's what you have to do. And then you can think about it once in a while, like, man, maybe I should, get that job teaching again. Like, things are rough. But something always happens and pulls you through.
to brings you back.
Yeah, any artist will tell you, like, if you're really in it, something always happens that makes you go, okay, I maybe one more time. Or somebody, all of a sudden you get money from somewhere, or so all of a sudden somebody gets interested in you when you've just had this hopeless situation. That's what Steven actually came in at the end of a terrible situation for me, where I was like, wow, I really should quit. Like everybody in my band quit. We were going for major labels. That all fell through. The major entertainment attorney fell through. Steven came in, he's like, hey, You want to come to my studio? Like literally came to our show a week later.
That's the universe going, you're not done.
This
is for you.
That's it.
You are to do this. This is
Yeah.
what you're meant to do.
I believe that when you're an artist, those things happen.
Absolutely. There's no question.
Did you ever read Just Kids by Patti Smith?
Oh, I've heard. No, I haven't, but
Okay.
I've heard about it. I've heard quotes from it.
In the you should read it. I think you'd really like
Yeah.
it. In the very first few pages, she's praying at night because she's asking God to make her an artist. It's the most innocent, beautiful, vulnerable thing I've ever read on printed paper. And she's just so honest about it. She's like, and after that she was homeless forever. And she grew up in upper middle class area of Philadelphia. And I'm going like, she didn't have to do it, but she wanted to have this experience of being an artist.
Yeah.
So, and she wanted it so bad from such a young age.
Yeah.
And I think those are other things that keep you going because you read that and you're like, I was like that. I wanted to be an artist.
You're
when
like,
I
and
was
I
little."
feel that in my soul.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I
Yeah.
love you, Zouzou. You are phenomenal.
too.
We could
You're
be here all
wonderful.
night. I completely forgot we're on TV. Hi. All right. So make sure and tell everybody where to find you.
Okay.
Where do you hang out most often on social media?
On social media, you'll see us on Instagram mostly.
Okay. And you guys post a lot. In fact, you go live. You do the the Instagram lives a lot.
We did them. We've been doing them a lot with our releases. Like,
Yeah.
it's my way of being like, hey, let's get in on this thing and make
It's
it
good.
exciting. Otherwise, it's like, here's another song, here's another song, here's another song. It's kind of gets boring for us too. It's like we did that 6 months ago. We did it, so let's involve you in some way. And it's been really fun.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
The number one takeaway for me, for you, is that you're in it for the right reason. And I can hear that in your writing. I can hear it in your words when you're talking in an interview, and I can see it when you or your band members are live on social. You're here for the music. You're here for the interaction, the human connection with people. I mean, even coming down to Instagram the other day, you were like, "Where am I looking? Am I looking? Do you feel like I'm looking in your eyes? Am I looking in your eyes?" And I was like, just the fact that even came into your thought of like the person on the other side of that camera. You wanted to feel connected to them.
Yes, I do.
That's the important shit.
Yeah.
It's not about the money or the fame or, I mean, all that stuff's nice and fun and great, but you're in it for the right reason. So God bless you for doing what you do and how you do it.
Thank you so much.
And your band.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has
We
been
could be
great.
here all
This
day.
has been
Please
great.
come back
Great.
again and we'll meet in
Definitely.
New Orleans. How about
Let's
that?
do it.
Yeah.
Let's do on Halloween. Halloween Eve.
Halloween
Mischief
Eve.
night. We gotta have to go to a cemetery though.
I mean, I've been to all of the great ones in New Orleans. I could give you a tour.
Have you
of
ever
all
been to
of
the
them.
one in Paris?
No, it's on my bucket list. Have
I've
you?
been there. I'll tell you about it.
Okay,
I'll tell
yeah,
you
we
about
have
it.
lots to chat about.
Yeah,
All right, what
sorry.
video are we showing? We haven't even discussed yet. What video are we feeling?
Do you want to show a lyric video or a music video like film?
Film. Let's go film.
I Seek Fire.
I Seek Fire. All right, let's do it. Soraia, you're watching Soundwaves TV. We'll be right back.
ring midnight bells, creeping and selling dirty copies in the night. Try to behave, hovers my grave. I want you more than my eyes ever let on. Confused and secret, acting so crazy. His shattered kiss would be the one good thing to save me. Wait, my mind's been torn in two. Say, my bleeding heart beats true. I wanna die in love. We can live forever. I'm fading past this jug, leaving me restless and wired. Just one more try for love. It's too late for never. New moon is rising up in town, so come show me I see fire. I see
If you'd like to be considered for airplay on either Soundwaves FM on 107.7 The Bone or right here on Soundwaves TV, all you have to do is go to 1077thebone.com/Soundwaves, drop a link to your music, submit, and that's it. As simple as that. You know, it's kind of like the movie Airheads, except you don't take anyone hostage.
You guys are crazy, man.
SoundwavesTV.com is your official home for Soundwaves merch. From coffee mugs to a variety of barware, my favorite, hats, exclusive tees, and the exclusive Soundwaves commemorative challenge coin. Get all your shopping done at SoundwavesTV.com.
The official Soundwaves beer, Into the Groove, is available on tap and in cans at Devil's Canyon Brewing Company in San Carlos. From beer Fridays to live performances, a tasting room, and a beer garden. Your next party is at Devil's Canyon.
Well, what a night it has been tonight, Dennis.
Yes.
Oh, my God. You know, if 2008 Joe Hawk was here, he would be squealing because, you know, that's the year I discovered the Dollyrots on my first college radio show. And,
I mean, 2023, Dennis is having a good time, too.
Yeah.
And actually, the Dollyrots are right behind us because that's what they do. I got to say, like, artists, hey, lean forward. Let's talk about this. Artists, when you do a thing and your fans come out to see you, do what these people do because they don't leave until they talk to the last person.
Exactly.
They are so freaking good when it comes to customer relations, fan appreciation. They're the best. And I mean, that's what made me fall in love with them. It's just like I ordered an album and I got a scribble on it going, hey, Dennis, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, they're good.
Yeah.
They're good. and they just turned out to be awesome. So, yeah.
You know what's also awesome about tonight? We did a thing.
We did a
and
thing.
we actually did it. We teased it earlier.
We did, yes.
We made a music video.
We did make a music video.
Yeah.
And I guess we should show them, huh?
I think we should.
I think it's the first time in like music video history, like MTV never did like we're gonna show you a video at the end of the show.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of perfect that it's also the final stretch, so I think we should just
Let's do it. Let's do it. So here it is, the world premiere of the brand new Dollyrots video, first single from their awesome brand new album, because we've heard it.
Yeah, we've heard it.
So we can say it's an awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
Brand new album. It's called Night Owls, and this is the first single. It's called Hey Girl, Check It Out.
Hell yeah.
You only said it once, and now it's boring. I'm falling out of jail attack 'cause of nothing. You know I said it once. Where did you get them? My favorite gothic boots that I've seen since Tampa. You oughta know me. I wanna get free. You wanna free me. Get up me. Hey girl, yeah you're the best, and if I like girls more, then I will be your girlfriend. Hey girl, yeah you're the best, and if I like girls more, then I will be your girlfriend. You gotta know that I'm a sucker for the rainbows. I got a fetish for the mermaid and the seahorse. You call me out when I'm a loser and got faded. Did you know Aerosmith's a song that's called Jaded? You wanna know me, I wanna get free. You wanna free me, so up me. Hey girl, yeah you're the best, and if I like girls more, then I would be your girlfriend. Hey girl, yeah you're the best, and if I like girls more, then I would be your girlfriend. Oh, if I like girls more, then I would be your girlfriend. Oh, if I like girls more, then I would be your girlfriend. So I'm just like anyone, could call it curious. Like the night with the judge and the hot tub's nothing serious. It's all in good fun, candles along the snow. Maybe you still have the photos, how will I ever know? You know, college or hot tubs is the theme. Then came tours, some nights were a dream. But I always go back to the one I choose, to the one I'm with. But it's fun to peruse. Hey girl, yeah you're the best, and if I like girls more, then I would be your girlfriend. Hey girl, yeah you're the best, and if I like girls more, then I would be your girlfriend. Oh, if I like girls more, then I would be your girlfriend. Oh, if I like girls more, then I would be your girlfriend. Oh, if I like girls more, then I would be your girlfriend. Thank you, let's hang out.
And we are heading into, I mean, we're done. We're done. I
Yeah, I was gonna
let's
say, heading where?
Let's cover this. So we had dinner, we did drinks, you guys did a killer show, we shot it, we played a music video.
Yeah.
We have to wrap the show up by
We really
saying
do, because
that
we're having way too much fun.
The Dollyrots not only are awesome and put on a great show, but I have to say the fan service, the
Yes.
appreciation of fans, the just every last freaking person in this place. Look, it's empty. Okay.
Now, yeah.
And you guys are amazing.
We're not a
at that.
band if nobody cares.
Yeah.
And I really like hugs.
Hugs are good.
Like, I think one of the hardest parts of COVID was like no physical interaction from strangers.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. There's something about like heartbeat to heartbeat squeeze.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
it's just really nice, and I just love hugs. So,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. So be like Kelly and
Yeah.
hug more often.
No hugs. No hugs. No hugs.
Enjoy,
And on that note,
enjoy
I think we're done.
audio. Yeah, that's right.
Adios, amigos.
Okay, so Night Owls is coming out October 13th, and you
Friday
need to hear
the
it.
13th.
Yes, and you just saw the first music video for it. Hopefully,
Yeah.
and
You did.
Hopefully,
you
no,
did.
we did it. We did it.
Yeah.
You did it. Yeah.
You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. And,
Okay.
and we'll do more stuff in the future. But
What would an
thank
owl
you.
say?
And on that note, thanks for watching, and we'll see ya.
We'll see you next time.